So I know one of your questions was the gradual release of control and support. I think you had said that. I think I understood that when you said it. It's you have to set the world up a certain way for success, but you don't want to be so rigid. So when you're charting the games, like little guys play games, bigger kids have their goals, not everything is a goal. So if you're bringing your child into communication, verbal communication, let's say, or just communication in general, when you see a neighbor or a friend from last year, or you're going to school and you're seeing another mother, you don't want to chart everything. It's not, oh my God, let's go chart it. Let's go, honey, let's go chart it. You want it to be natural so that you are providing the goals, the games, you're doing it, and you're naturally setting up the world for them. But not everything is charted. So when they're playing their games or they're doing their goals, that's charted because you want them to feel the success and see where they're at. So they're playing the games, and by playing the games, they're crossing the bridge. That's what happens. The older kids are doing the goals, knowing exactly where they're at on the bridge and why they're doing it. In the younger kid ages, 3+, 4, 5, it really depends. I would definitely say by 4.5, 5, we're working on the bridge and they know where they're at and they're playing their games. But for little guys, a lot of it's just immediate stickers for playing a game. And you know what you're doing with the game. Maybe they get 3 stickers for telling you and 5 stickers the waiter heard. So you're changing the words and you begin to show them a bridge. But for some kids, it's just give my order game and they get stickers. And you know how to bring your child into verbal communication or just even engaging. So they get stickers for playing the game. And as a byproduct of the game, they become verbal. That may be less of their involvement. So not to get too much off the topic, it's a fine balance. And whoever it is you are working with can help you with that balance because parents sometimes feel I need to know everything. I need to know everything. I'm hearing this on the podcast. I'm reading this. I need to know, but I don't get it. And that's where your treatment professional comes into play. They need to help simplify this for you and put it together so that you feel calm about it. You aren't meant to know all this. At all. Just like I don't know something else about a lot of things, but I can't parallel park for beans, but I'm not going to fight myself on it. I accept it. And sometimes I get out of it. Sometimes I do it, but
what
I
a backup camera's for.
What?
That's what a backup camera's for.
Exactly. Or your other child that can drive. Oh my God, she's parallel parking. I'm not that bad. And when I'm by myself, it's scary. And I'm not the greatest cook. I've accepted that about myself. So sometimes it's your stress. But this, in terms of understanding what to do, how to do it, where to do it, when to do it with your children, is not something that you're born to know. I know all this because this has been my life for 1,010 years. So I've had to learn it. But you guys have us as resources. So hopefully that's what's conveyed to you.
I think just to talk about the anxiety thing with what you're saying before, when we came last year and we went to the restaurants and the whole script and did you get that? And that's where my anxiety, I felt like, because it was like, oh my gosh, there's like another person. You want to control like everything because you have the script and if they don't hear it. So it's letting go of that and learn, but it's not, you can't, like you want control. It's this gradual process. And then it just becomes a natural thing. He's still not talking directly to them, but I don't feel like I put as much pressure on him. It's just the right amount. He knows they need to hear him. And then we'll work on the eye contact and we'll work on all of that. But I just remember last summer being completely different the way that I approached the outings. But the outings, that's what for us last year was we didn't go back to the hotel. We went right out because I know him and he wanted to go to the hotel because he wanted to play the Switch or whatever. So it was don't take him back, go out, do an activity, go straight to dinner because otherwise I'm not going to get him back out into the public. That was huge for us last year.
Yeah. So
and that's the momentum thing I always talk about, which is key for him.
I think it is for sure. And goals and games are always needed. You can't get through this without exposures and goals and games where you know what you're doing. And I keep saying what, when, where, and how, because you need to know all that. You need to know how to do it, but it becomes very natural where you don't have to think about it as much. That if they don't answer, you bridge down to a choice. If they don't answer, tell me. And you just do it in a way. And then all of a sudden your child starts to do it. Depending on the reasons for their SM may hold them up. Their whys affect their ability to be engaged in social and verbal and expressive. So we have to accept that as well. One of the questions was, do you have any other questions about the teacher? Because 3 of you brought it up. What other questions in terms of getting to know the teacher?
And maybe this is, so some people, like, And it's a comfort thing, right? So it's like some people he just like is not comfortable with. And I think that was like, there are just going to be some personalities that don't jive with him, but that's his teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's, I don't know. I feel like in a strange place here where it's like, we have to learn how to engage with people we don't like, because like that's part of the world. But also you can see how like uncomfortable they are. And I think that's like something that I get stuck on a lot. It's okay. Yeah, I wouldn't want to talk to that neighbor either. Like, how much do you push to be like, okay, we have to be neighborly, but also that person, I get why you don't want to talk to that person. And I think that in a school setting too, there are people that, yeah, he's going to talk to. He talks to them a lot quicker. And then there's other people that are overbearing, louder, are like forcing him to talk, and he's not going to talk to that person. And so it's just like this balance of, yes, I want you to be able to like be in the world, but also, yeah, I get it. I don't know. And I think that's where I get stuck a lot of times, is like where to push, where to let back, like where to be like, actually, you just don't like that person, and that's okay.
So I appreciate like everything you're saying, because everyone here can relate to this. I want to be careful with don't like them and I don't want to talk to them versus their lack of comfort and their lack of skills.
Okay.
Because what I've seen in older children, it becomes an excuse, and some parents, at least when I meet them, are like, she doesn't like that teacher. She doesn't like that child. She doesn't like that school. She doesn't like this. Mm-hmm. Is it so much they don't like them, and then maybe that neighbor perhaps? But a lot of times what I've learned is it's more the child isn't comfortable.
Yeah.
And we can't control, as kids get older, who's in their class. Every teacher, when they go to middle school, they have 10 teachers. Mm-hmm. So you can't. Right. So we have to teach them that it's the skills a lot of times. So if the child, I don't like that kid, is it they really don't like that kid, or is that there's something they're not comfortable with? Maybe they're a really loud, boisterous child. Mm-hmm. So we talk about that. So because I want to be careful that these kids just don't say, I don't like this person. Mm-hmm. Because that does become a habit, and not that any of you are this kind of parent, but I'm amazed how many parents come here and they're like, yeah, she said she doesn't like her teacher. She chews gum too loud. This is true story. Or when the teacher walked by, my daughter said she purposely hit her shoulder, and I called the school. Like, they're listening to everything their child is saying without realizing, no, I don't think so. Right. I think a lot of this is your child's uncomfortableness in that situation.
Mm-hmm. Okay,